Ready to dig deep? Into music, that is. Hi, I'm Dana, and this is Dana's Music Notes. So, of course, I love piano, but another love of mine is gardening and flowers and plants. By my entrance, I have some lavender. I also have some butterfly irises. And then out by my pool, we've got some roses. I did have daylilies blooming, but I think they're done for the year. But if we walk around this way, there's some Mexican heather, Mexican honeysuckle. A little bit further over here is my favorite lily of the Nile, or agapanthus. And then next to that is a beautiful red hibiscus, and sadly it doesn't really have any blooms right now. There's one about to drop that was done. And then last of all, we have this alamanda. Everywhere we live, we plant an alamanda, and that's kind of in honor of my husband's grandfather. So come on into my garden. So this little garden is on the side of my house, and I kind of call it my whimsical garden because I've taken my grandkids to Hobby Lobby and let them pick out whatever they'd like and put it wherever they'd like in my garden. There's some rain lilies that just bloomed. There's a grasshopper that my grandson picked out. The wings fell off, sadly. Yeah, this garden is quite a mess. You can see I've got my work cut out for me in here. Lots of weeds. Cute little mushrooms. This my granddaughter picked out, the little frog. And then you have to have a gnome in your garden, right? That was picked out by a granddaughter. Little ice cream truck, super cute. We've got a cat hiding in the wood. I have a lot of weeding to do in this garden, but for now let's get to the music. So I'm gonna wash all this dirt off and I will meet you in my music room. Let's go. Hi, welcome back to my music room. You know, in gardening, you need food and water for your plants. The food would be fertilizer, and you need to do that on a consistent basis. And in music, it's the same way. You need to be consistent about your practicing. Let's think of that as the food and water, practicing your scales and your chords, your arpeggios, any songs that you might be learning. And speaking of songs, if you think you're ready to try a book, I have a couple that I recommend. This is actually the one that I started on. I started playing in the 3rd grade with John Thompson's, which is just fine, but they're just a little old-fashioned and just all in black and white. And then as I was teaching piano, I discovered Alfred's, and I just love it. This would be for young beginners, very young. So if you're wanting to teach a young one at home, this one's great. But it's colorful, it's fun, lots of activities. And then if you have kids that are a little bit older, they have their prep course for them. But if this is for you as an adult and you're wanting to learn, then this is the one that I recommend. Alfred's Basic Adult Piano Course. There's 3 levels. I think this is level 2. Oh, this is level 3. But actually start at level 1. And after playing the 3rd level, you can do Moonlight Sonata. That's the last song in here, which is a beautiful piece. Very tricky to play, but if you can go through all 3 levels, you'll be able to play that at the end. A lot of people ask me how often they should practice, and when they do sit at the piano, how long they should sit there. And as a beginner, if you're just starting out, I would recommend shooting for 3 to 4 times a week. And it's not going to take you long when you sit down at the piano to play through your scales, your chords, your arpeggios. Now, as time goes on and you have more that you're learning and you have music that's getting more difficult, I would shoot for 30 minutes, when you're sitting down to practice for however many days a week. I sit and play, I'll practice, and an hour will go by easily without me even knowing it. So, but as a goal, I would shoot for 3 to 4 times a week, 30 minutes. And now, if you're ready to get on to the music, let's do. And you know what? You don't even need a green thumb. Okay, so now we're going to talk about inversions. And so first we're going to look at a root chord, which is what I've taught you. There we go, root. We have our gardening term. But this is a C chord, just the way I've taught it to you. You have a middle C on the bottom. You have E, and then G. So this is in root position. Now, if we were to invert that, you know, the word invert means to turn upside down. So if we were to invert this chord, we're going to put the C on top. So that means now we have E on the bottom, G in the middle, and C. So this is a C1. It's a C chord that's been inverted. So we have E, G, C. Same three notes, they're just in a different order. And we can invert it again and put the E on top. So now we have G, C, E. So all three of them are the C chord. They're just played in a different order. And so I'm going to show you on an actual song. Okay, let's look at this song, Farewell to Thee. Look at the song here, and it's telling you the chord right here. This is a C chord. And then over here, we're going to have a G chord. But here's your C chord in root position, and then it's inverted again. And if you invert it one more time, it's back into root position. And then these little wavy lines just means that it wants you to arpeggio it, which we've learned about that in the past. But so here we go. Here's your C chord. Now we're inverting it again, and now it's in root position. And I'll show you that on the piano in just a minute. And now I'm going to play a G chord in root position. First inversion, second inversion, and back to root position. All right, so let's look down here. Here's our root position, C. And then the easiest way if you're trying to invert this is move your thumb up to the E, third finger up to that G, and then just play your C on top. Move your thumb to G, C, E. So back to root position. So this song is fun because you've got your melody played with the left hand. Here's our G chord. Here's G chord again. Oops. Here's our little ending. And it ends in G. So, there we go. Okay, and now let's do a quick review. We have our C scale, C chord, and now what you can add to your practice time is inversions right here. And then our G scale. Try to invert that. Next we had D. Now your D chord is going to be a little harder to invert because of this sharp, but the sharp's in the middle. Now it's going to be on the bottom. So we have A and D on top. Now we're moving that F sharp to the top. So A, D, F sharp. And then back to root position. And then our new scale today, oh, I'm sorry, we haven't reviewed our A scale. Invert it. Your new scale today is E, and it's going to have 4 sharps. This one's fairly easy to play because you have 2 sharps together, E, F sharp, G sharp, thumb under, and here's your last 2 sharps. Our E chord does have a sharp in the middle. So now you've got quite a few sharps and chords under your belt. Okay, the last thing we're going to talk about today is chord progressions. Now I've written out the C scale right here for the treble clef. So this is your middle C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we're going to look at the chords for this. And your chords are written in music, your chords are written in Roman numerals. So if we give every single one of these notes a number, you've got 1, 2, 3. We're going to look at the 4th and the 5th for now. Okay, so the first, when you're in C scale, your first chord is going to be your tonic. The 4th chord is going to be your subdominant. And then the 5th chord is your dominant. And actually every single one of these tones has a name, but when you're doing chord progressions, we're going to look at these 4 chords. And I will show you on the piano shortly. So we have a C, an F, and a G. Those are your 3 chords that you're going to use when you're playing in a piece that is in the key of C. Now down here, I've written out the G scale. Now remember when I taught y'all about the treble clef, it's your G clef, so there's your G. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So our tonic, our first chord, when you're playing in the key of G, is going to be a G chord. And then you look at your 4th and your 5th for the other 2 chords. So when you're playing in the key of G, then your 3 chords are going to be the G, the C, and the D. And every lesson, I'm going to review this. We're going to talk about, chord progressions a lot more. And especially when you start learning to read music, this will make more sense too. And we're going to be doing that shortly. But for now, let's go over to the piano and I'm going to show you these. Okay, so now let's look at chord progressions on my piano. So I'm going to be in C position here, thumb on middle C of my right hand, pinky on the lower C. And this is where it'll get fun because if you can kind of pick out songs, just by ear, let's say Mary Had a Little Lamb, start on E. Then now that you know chord progressions, you can add some left hand to that. So let's focus on the chord progressions now. So remember that tonic is just your C chord. And then that 4th tone is your next chord, but instead of going way up here and then to the G, it's easier done all right here. And this is where your inversions come into play too, because you can go from C to F easily and back, and then you can do your G. So see, those are just the chords that are inverted. So C chord, to do the F, you will play the F chord, play your C and your F, just move your thumb over to the A, back to C. Now keep your thumb here, move these 2 down to play the G chord. So let's try that with Mary Had a Little Lamb. This is where you're going to change chords to your G. Way to know which chord to change to. When we changed to D, well, there's no D in a C chord, so those clash, you can hear it. But if you try the F chord, okay, there's no D in the F chord either, but there is a D in the G chord, so that's how we knew to change. Now let's try it with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or the alphabet song. Now for this one, you're going to need to move over so your finger 4 can play the G, because now we're going to play the A. Then you can just move back down. This one's a little more fun because we're going to involve all 3 chords. Again, look at what chord has an A in it. Back to your G. There's your F. D. And then, now that you also know how to do arpeggios, change to F. So just some more fun things for you to try. Okay, I wanted to show y'all one more song today. This is the song I'm going to play for you, Last of the Mohicans. I love the music from this movie, but the reason I am playing it for you is because I wanted to show you all the inversions in this piece also. So if you look here, you might have wondered, you know, if you've ever looked at a piece of music, you might have wondered what this is going on up here. This is just your chord, and it's showing you how to play that chord on a guitar. So this song could easily be played by guitar also. But this is what I want to show you right here. You've got your C chord, but it is inverted. We have G, C, E, and then down here, F. So this is normally your F chord, but this song is played up here in inverted. And then we also have another arpeggio right here. So you can listen for all of that while I'm playing it. Short and sweet. Well, that concludes our lesson today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, drop them below. If you have a question about anything that I've said today or taught you, or if you want to learn a certain song, I can try to help you with that. Or if there's a song you want to hear me play, just anything at all, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe. And then if you want to get a notification every time I post, be sure and click that little bell. And you know what? Feel free to share this with anyone that you know that might want to learn piano. Thanks again for watching. Bye.